Hello, my video family and friends. I I don't even know how to express to you today how excited I am about this topic. This is my when you see today's topic and you hear today's topic, you're gonna understand because I think you're already getting to know me. But today's topic is what God says who we are in the creation that He made for us. And so I guess I could possibly be called a new hippie tree hugger. I don't know. But as you'll see as we get to know each other throughout the year, I love nature. I love animals. I love the beauty. I feel like I live in God's masterpiece painting gallery. I feel like every day I wake up and I'm in a museum full of things that are unique and one of a kind and detailed. So I'm excited about today. Now, I will tell you, I was not allowed to do what I wanted. My husband said, nah. Behind me, obviously, you're finding out this pond is one of my favorite absolute places in the world to be. And so I get in the pond to clean some of the muck. And right now I'm in the throes of trying to train. Make fun of me, it's okay. I promise it's okay. Train a few feeder fish. Um, I know how stupid that sounds. I told the kids last night, I'm not going to become that old cat lady. I'm going to become that old fish lady. Um, but I get in there and I try to teach them to not be afraid so that they'll, swim around while I'm out here. And I wanted so badly to come into the pond and do some of my maintenance that I do and bring you with me so that you could have an even closer idea. But my husband thought that that was really a dumb idea and that it might be a little dangerous to sit at the bottom of the pool and try to hold a camera and a Bible. So today I am so full of joy. I'm just so full of joy. It's a beautiful day out. Once again, I'm at the pond, so I have no idea what you can see because the sun is so bright. But I hope you are seeing the beauty of what it is. Let's pray. Father, I thank you so much for today. And God, I just want to tell you how personally thankful I am about the joy that your creation brings to me. It is unbelievable. So, God, thank you and help us not miss every detail. Amen. Well, we're going to get started. Remember what this whole devotional thing is about. 5 days a week, if you want, we can do devotions together. And our topic is, for an entire year, to find out who God says I am, who God says you are. In a world where we do not know how to even evaluate who we are. Are we supposed to be skinny? Are we supposed to be fat? Are we supposed to be a certain color? Are we supposed to live a certain place? Are we supposed to come from a certain country? So this is critical to really deep down find out who God says I am. So today we are covering an I am statement, and it is I am front row center. My mom and I used to love. You know what? I shouldn't exclude my dad. My dad, when he was alive, the last little bit of his years, while I was still in college. Um, I'm sorry, when I was still in high school. I used to love to go see theater plays, and my mom was so cute. She always wanted to go too. So, I had a really good job, even though I was young. I had a really good job. I had started college and had saved a lot of money. So I was able to take my parents a couple times to New York City at Christmas time. And through the college that I was at during that time, they would offer some package like deals. And so there was a couple times that my dad, mom, and we just went to New York for the Christmas break, and we went to see tons and tons of plays. So with my dad and mom, I think with my dad we did it twice, and my mom we did it 3 times, and then I went a couple times on my own. So I coined the phrase front row center because that seems to make sense to me. And the reason I'm telling you that is because it doesn't matter how cheap or how expensive. If you don't have a good seat, you're going to miss all the details. Um, I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but it's really a pain in the patukas to pay good money to go see a game, and all you can see are these little teeny dots. And you want so badly to be excited because you're there in person, even if it's a ball game, if it's, all sorts of things, whatever you buy tickets to go see a concert, and you're way, way in the back and don't have good seats, you really can't see the vastness of what's happening on that stage. Um, I was at I was at a Broadway show one time with my mom, and the man who used to play Superman in the movies, the old Superman, Christopher Reeves, he ended up coming to the theater to see the same play that my mom and I were seeing. And we went a little overboard and we bought really close front row seats because we were excited as to what we were watching. We were watching a play called I'm Not Rappaport, and it had Judd Hirsch and Hal Lindsey. And so we were so excited because we thought they were stars, come on. And all of a sudden, I mean, we're not far from the stage. Christopher Reeves comes and says, "Excuse me," at the end of our row, and makes his way, and he is sitting just a couple people down from my mom and I. So not only, I mean, we could see the sweat on Judd Hirsch's face. We could see the lines on Hal Lindsey's face. I mean, we were so close. And then to top it off, we had the best shot of Christopher Reeve's knees. We could see them because they were just a couple down. And Christopher Reeve had his wife with him, and she was beautiful. And so my mom and I were like little school kids. Can you see what I see? Because we were so close to the action. I still remember that because of where our seats were and what we could engage with in the seats. Now, when I did theater, I made sure that I got my parents the best seats, about 3 rows back center, so that you could see every facial expression, so that you could see any eye contact. I mean, you can see the pupil of somebody's eye. And so we kind of got used to being able to front row center. So please forgive me for using such a silly analogy, but I don't know how to describe it any better. So I'm going to turn around for just a minute, and I want you to well, you don't have to turn around. You look with me. And you're not going to be able to hear me because I'm backwards, so I'll say something when I turn back around. But I'm just going to move myself a bit, and I'm going to turn around, and you might see my flabby arm because I'm going to point at certain things. I don't know if you can see the vastness of the lilies here. We have pink and white lilies that have decided to bloom. Actually, let's try this. Can you see? Can you see my lilies? Aren't they? Oh, and the dog's drinking water out of the pond. Can you see the trees that are right there and how they have grown? Can you see the waterfall? Can you listen and hear the waterfall? Can you see the roses? Can you see where I am? The reason I did this is because one of the most favorite things that I love about who God says I am, He says He reserved that seat for me to be front row center to the greatest show that could ever be on earth. So let's go to Genesis chapter 1. I know Genesis again. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2, and let's find out what front row center means. We're going to be in Genesis chapter 1, and we are going to look at verses 26 through 30. And I'm going to read them out loud to you. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish, and over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on earth." God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over the every living thing that moves on earth. That wasn't me accidentally reading the same verse twice. It's repeated. We're going to pick it up at verse 29. Then God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the surface of the earth, and every tree which has fruit yielding it. It shall be food for you. And to every beast of the earth, so it's still that phrase, it's still in the same sentence, I've given you. So I've given you every beast of the earth, and every bird of the sky, and everything that moves on the earth which has life. I have given every green plant for food, and it was so. So we have got about 5 amazing times that he repeats. 2 or 3 times he says given, but he's using words like rule, subdue, take care of, have dominion over. So he's using these words that aren't maybe familiar to what we have always looked at when we look at Genesis chapter 1. Now let's flip over to Genesis chapter 2, verses 15 through 18. Can you hear? I so wish you could hear what I hear. There's birds just up in this tree and they're singing so beautiful. Oh my goodness, I have to show you. One of our dogs, I don't know if you can see it, she jumped in the pond behind me. I have the most wonderful life in the world. God is so good. Oh, I'm sorry. She's decided to take a swim. I won't be distracted anymore. We're going to be on chapter 2, and we're going to be looking at verses 15 through 18. So let's look at them really quick. And now that I kind of give you a hint about what we're looking for, see if you can pick up on some of these words. So verse 15. Then the Lord took the man and put him into the garden to cultivate it and keep it. And the Lord commanded the man, saying, from any tree in the garden you may eat freely, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat it, you will surely die. Then the Lord said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him. Now the reason that I included that last verse is because Adam isn't the only one who got these seeds. So did Eve. Now, let's go back for a minute. Seriously, dogs, go. I just wish you could see. It's just amazing what's happening around me. So let's think about a minute for these words that we've seen and what this I am statement really is. Where we are reading at in Genesis is before Adam and Eve sinned. It's before Satan was given the power to roam around the earth. The earth was God's and God's alone. And it was not a place where he was on a different plane. The Bible tells us, and if you study Genesis a little bit more, and we're going to keep going, I promise we're going to keep going, but in the book of Genesis, it actually describes that God used to come in the cool of the day and walk with Adam and Eve and talk with them, actually physically, in the garden. So that has to tell you how pure this Garden of Eden was. It was, I want you to look around and what you see beautiful. You may be a stargazer. You may be a bird watcher. You may be a rock collector. You may be a landscape mower. You can be anything. But whatever it is that you love about this earth, think about if there were no barriers that kept God at a distance. There was no sin to separate us. And he would come, think about this, and he would come and join us in his creation. You know, there's so much I don't know. I was at the Botanical Gardens shooting a video for something else a couple weeks ago, and this little girl came where I was sitting, and she had this phone app, and for the life of me, I can't remember it. So if you're watching this video, can you text it to me? And she would be able to put this app on her phone. She would click a plant, and on the phone, it was called Show Me or Picture It, something like that. Anyways, and up from the screen would come the exact name of that plant, all sorts of information about that plant, how it grew, what it needed. God was their app. Adam and Eve could walk around and say, hey, why does that tree grow sideways? And I'm sitting in front of a willow, so my willow's behind you. I think you saw it in another video. And why does that tree grow down? And just up here is a beautiful silver birch, and it grows so high. And why does that one grow up? Can you imagine saying, hey, God, just give me a little tutor session, and point at something, and God be able to say to you, oh yeah, that's this. And let me tell you why I created it. And isn't it pretty? Can you imagine him? I can sit here, and I'm sitting next to a plant that I've had at the garden, here at the pond, since the beginning. And I have no idea what it is. At first I thought here, let me give you just a little look of it. There it is. I have no idea what it is. And so the first couple times I weeded it, and I pulled it out. It's very rapid growing at the beginning of the season. And it has these dangly roots, and the roots are not in the sand or the dirt and rocks around the pond. The roots are actually in the water, and they float. So I was like, oh, these have got to go. It's going to ruin my pond. So I pulled them, and they have this smell. It's not peppermint, it's not spearmint, and it's not citronella. But it has that kind of a smell. So one year I thought, I'm going to leave it in there and see what happens, just in case. And the fish love it. They love it. They go and they play in these real thin threads of roots. They nestle in it. I don't know if they eat it, but they love it. Now, how cool would it have been to be in a position where you could say, hey, God, while we take our walk today, would you mind telling me what this plant is? Why does it grow so fast? What's this root system about? How can it just live in water, but yet it's a land plant? God was at their disposal. He relished. According to this, he loved teaching his image people, the humans that he created. He loved showing off. But that's not the only thing. He admits willingly that he made it for us. It's not that we get to be just a viewer, but we are a receiver. We have season tickets that never expire to sitting in the best seat in the house, to be able to view and care for what he created. When you go back and you read these verses again, in the extra work, if you're interested, go to Facebook, Jot and Tittle. And one of the things for today's extra work is to look up what all these words mean. Rule, dominion, keep, subdue. Those sound harsh words, but when you see what they mean, they're not. Remember, the garden was before sin, and they're working on the earth. So working with the earth, being in nature, is not a punishment. It's a gift. Living on this planet, although sin has now entered and made it very corrupt, sin has kind of just really taken its toll on God's creation, including us. But there is still evidence, vast amounts of evidence. He says that the plural of him, he says our and us, In saying that, he's letting us know that the Trinity was in full agreement. Jesus was nodding, the Holy Spirit was giving him the thumbs up, and God was saying, yeah, let's do this. Let's give them the most incredible thing that they could imagine. And let's make it so full of variety that they can spend the rest of eternity looking at the details of what we've made. And not only that, but let's go even further. Jesus and the Holy Spirit and God are having this wonderful, wonderful conversation. And they share this conversation with him. And they say, I know. Let's give it to them. Let's take the beautiful of all beautiful. Let's take what we have created in our minds and spoke with our words into existence, and let's give it to them. I am a terrible secret keeper when it comes to presents. I just can't keep them a secret. My kids make fun of me. I just can't. I get so excited. If I found something really personal, or even if it's just geeky, I'm like, and so I end up giving away many of the Christmas presents before Christmas comes. And there's been times, when the kids are little, they don't acknowledge, oh, I already got my Christmas present. You can't do that with kids. And there are many years that I would have to go out right before Christmas and grab something because I had already shown them and given them the special things that I had picked for them. That's how excited they were to hand it over to us. And although it was a free gift, that's a key word because we're going to find out about that free gift in some other videos later on. But not only is this a free gift, but it required our active participation. God gave us this gift of all that he has created and all the plants and animals in it. Nowhere does it say that he gave us humans to rule or subdue. It was the plants and the animals and all that they could behold. Not only did he give it to us, but he made a way for us to be able to participate in it. We have no idea how long Adam and Eve lived in that garden before they sinned. There's no way to know. We can all give an opinion, but it's just a guess. I don't know how long I would have been able to withstand sin, so could have been a short time. But I love thinking about the benefit of the doubt that they may have walked in there. They could have walked in that garden hundreds of years and us not have any idea. And their job was to take care, participate in. When it says subdue the animals, at that time, there was no such thing as husbandry or, lion tamers. That just didn't exist. So when he talked about subduing it, he was talking about training it, helping it understand its boundaries. In Genesis, it says that God caused all the animals to go before Adam, and Adam got the privilege of naming. Now here I go with, I am that crazy lady. I believe that in the perfect garden and in perfect heaven, we will understand the language of all that God has created. I don't know other language, but I know that he does. And I have a sneaking suspicion that Adam did. God is saying, I am the caretaker. I am the receiver. I have been given front row seats. I am made responsible. I am part owner because he gave it to us, of this vast and beautiful world and all the details in it. The computer that I have that my sweet Grandma Kay bought me, she helped me be able to pay for it so I could do these videos. It has the coolest screen thing. Every day when you open it, there's a different picture on it. And if you tap on the picture, it tells you where that picture was taken from, where on earth that was, and it tells you some information about that picture, like how old it is, what grows there. It's really cool screen. As I was studying for this one, obviously I was overtaken with joy that God has called us. He has called me to receive this. He has called me to receive this. And I am allowed to see it as just a precious gift. I am not allowed to treat it poorly. I am responsible. Now, I have a lot of family in Haiti, and with my health, I'm not allowed to go there anymore, but I spent so much time in Haiti, and their nature is so beautiful. It's just not touched by human hands. But because of their poverty circumstance, you see a lot of really thin, sickly looking animals. Even the dogs that they have don't look like dogs in America because they are so, you see their bones. They don't grow big. When you watch the news and you see places where there is just oceans and oceans of garbage, when you click on a website and it tells you about, the endangered animals because man is inflicted on them, that was not God's intent, and God is not calling us to that. Our identity. Now, let me back up for a minute. I am not telling you you can't hunt. I'm not telling you you can't cut down trees. I'm not telling you any of that. So don't go crazy and take my words to mean something else, because that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is God is saying, take this gift and use it for what I wanted you to use it for. I made it a beautiful smorgasbord for you. I've made it a recreational place for you. I've made it a place of joy. I've made it a place where I can come and commune with you. So no matter what your stance is politically or it doesn't matter. God says that I am given this earth as a gift. And he declares that I am its keeper. I am its subduer. I am to treat it, to raise it, to give it its boundaries, to allow it to be beautiful. My identity is to share creation with God because he made it for me. He made it for you. What a joy. What a joy. Now, in the extra work today, there's going to be some questions that are going to be hard to answer. Like, do you want this gift? Do you want the gift and then give back the responsibility that comes with it? Do you even believe that God created it? So there's lots of hard questions attached to this. For me, this is an easy one for me to receive, and I'm so happy that he picked this present out just for me. And I know as I look around, I can see his thoughts about us. I can see what he thinks about humans by the way he made the earth. But this may not be your joyful excitement to receive this identity. So spend some time with the Lord. I would also suggest with you that you spend some time outside or even inside if you have animals in. We have a cute little zoo up the road, and I go there because the animals are in their backyard and we're allowed to feed them, and it's amazing. So, my friends, I'm so glad that we are in the same club. We have season tickets that never expire, front row center, right smack dab where we need to be in this earth, this beautiful place that God has set us. I'll see you tomorrow.